Hey everyone, this is Pete. Welcome back to Atari A to Z Flashback, an exploration of the games on the Atari Flashback Classics collection for Nintendo Switch. This is Black Widow from Atari. 1982, I believe this came out, and if I'm reading my own Roman numerals correctly. This is a game that I actually like a great deal. Let's jump right in and take a look. So, it is a twin-stick shooter, very much in the vein of Robotron, albeit with lovely, colourful vector graphics. And some rather interesting mechanics along the way. So, you'll see that you shoot things and they turn into those dollar signs. There are certain enemies that you need to shoot lots of times in order to destroy. And there's certain enemies that are dependent on others to defeat as well. So you actually need to force some enemies into the path of other enemies in order to defeat them. Now, I always found this game quite interesting because, when it's not explicitly stated anywhere, but I always felt that it may well have had an influence on the creator Jeff Minter, who is still doing things today. So this very much feels like a game that Jeff Minter would have made in a lot of ways. He was very interested in the Robotron format for one thing, but also just certain things about the presentation as well are very, very Minter-esque, if you like. Things like the use of for sure on the difficulty select menu at the beginning, and that kind of thing. It just feels very, very Jeff Minter in a lot of ways. And of course, Jeff Minter is also quite known for making a number of adaptations of Tempest over the years as well, which is a game very much in this sort of presentational style. All right. So, we got a high score. Wasn't an amazing one, but enough for 4th place. Let's give it another go. Yeah, let's just start from the beginning. This was actually an early example of an Atari game offering you the opportunity to start with a high score. If you wanted to sort of skip the early level. So, if you're a particularly skilled player and you wanted to skip over the stuff that was sort of beneath you, you could do. This would later be seen again in a lot of Atari's later arcade games. So if you look at things like Clax, that allows you to start at later stages, gives you a score bonus for doing so. But it's a bit of a trade-off in a lot of cases. Very often, the amount of points you could get for actually getting to that stage manually would be higher than that initial bonus you'd get. But it also makes the game last for a lot longer and carries a lot more risk. So, a lot of people talk about the idea of risk versus reward in arcade games, and that's a really good example of that at work there. So like I say, this is a really fun game. It's not a very complicated one by any means, but it's one that I've always enjoyed for its presentation, its sound effects, its simple but enjoyable mechanics. It's something a little bit different from your standard conventional shoot 'em up as well. And I just love these coloured vector graphics. They look really nice. And you combine that with the nice dual stick controls that we've got here. So not fully analog, but they work really nicely with the analog sticks on the Switch Pro controller. It's just one of those games that feels really nice to play. And of course, pushing things down the hole in the middle is immensely satisfying as well. Game over, man. I beat my last score by quite a bit. It's only 4th, though. Let's have one more go at that. Right. Off we go. Let's delve into a higher level and see just how insane it gets. So I do like that little spider at the top. Let's let's see what level 21's like. Intense difficulty. Here we go. Good start. Well, that went well, didn't it? Yeah, let's maybe not try quite so much. Let's try level 13. Ouch. Okay, so those ones explode and hurt you when they explode. But it looks like they also take out enemies as well. This is difficult. Yeah, so as you progress in Black Widow, it looks very much like you need to start paying attention to the different types of enemies, the way they behave, how they behave when you defeat them as well. That's something you don't often have to think about. All right, let's have one more go just from the beginning there. I know I've topped the high score table by completely underhanded methods there, but let's do it properly from the start. See how we get on. Here we go. Oh, it's so much slower from the start, isn't it? And I'm still shit. Oh god, I suck at this game. Like I've said before, sucking at a game doesn't necessarily mean you can't enjoy it. And Black Widow is an arcade game that I've always had a lot of fun with. I know Tempest is the one that typically gets regarded as the classic game of this type and presentation and era, but I've always enjoyed this a bit more than Tempest. So there, basically. Alright, so that was Black Widow by Atari, 1982. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please help out the channel by leaving a like or a comment and subscribing. New episodes of Atari A to Z are on Tuesdays and Atari ST A to Z on Thursdays. Check out atariatoz.wordpress.com for a full archive. Do please also check out my other projects moegamer.net, where I explore Japanese and Japanese-inspired games from yesterday and today, and videopackgames.wordpress.com, which aims to catalogue the small but well-formed library of the Philips G7000 Videopack computer, also known as the Magnavox Odyssey 2. You can also support my work on Patreon or buy me a coffee. You can find links to do both down in the video description. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.